welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and today we're doing another Get Fit With Me series yoga edition. This is this is Black Nico Marie yoga routine that we're going to be doing. Black Yogi Nico Marie. Yeah, I already know. We review her all the time because she's consistent and just always has new stuff out here. But what we're going to do today, we're actually going to, well, the plan is to combine two practices. So we are going to combine something old and something new together. So we're going to be doing a mindful morning meditation yoga, which is 5 minutes. And then we're finally, for those who know, I've been trying to get caught up with all of her stuff that she posts. We're going to do a yoga routine. And by the way, the meditation routine was from 8 days ago, and I'm actually filming this on the 28th of November, so it's going to be in the archives by the time you get to it. But the other routine that we're going to then review, along with that do and review, of course, and it's going to be yoga for feminine energy. So we're combining things. We're going to do both. For those who are in the United States, it's getting cold already. For those who are in the Midwest, it is in the lower 20s, but it feels like it's in the teens. And for me, that's a little too soon. So instead of running or being outside, your girl's just going to be doing all the yoga. So you're getting a lot out of me for this. But I do just want to make a content announcement real quick before we get into this practice. Most of the content that I have out here, I filmed back in November. And so this is going to get you through all December because, full transparency, I don't want to have to do really that much yoga in December at all. I want to take I want to take most of the month of December off from doing yoga. And then I'm going to start fresh and anew at the beginning of the year because I don't have one, I have two 31-day yoga challenges that two of the yoga instructors that I follow and do routines of will have on YouTube. I haven't decided if I'm going to do two back-to-backs or if I'm going to do one of them for 1 month and then do the other one for like March, because I know I'm going to need February off after doing all that. So that is a content update. And I'm not going to film every day of me doing the yoga. I'm going to do similar to when we had the 30-day challenge that Nico Marie had back in June. I'm going to do the same thing again so that you guys can follow along with me and do the challenge with me as well. Because we already know 2024 it's crazy, but it's coming already. And you know, New Year's resolutions, the problem with those is you don't stick with them. But if you're thinking ahead and planning ahead, you got it, right? Right. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the practice. So we are going to start today's practice in a comfortable seated position. And there is a name of how we have our hands, but it's very intentional. So we're going to have like our thumbs touching each other and our index fingers touching each other, and then having the rest of our hands aside. And then we're putting that right around our lower belly and navel area. And to me, it symbolizes femininity. She didn't really say that, but I had a feeling that was why we were going with that pose. And with this, we're just going to be getting in touch with our breath, getting comfortable with our breath before we do start the practice. And also, I should say this, with this practice, this is going to be a combination of kind of restorative poses with some workout, not as much as like a vinyasa, but it's a lot more than your typical restorative practice. From here we're going to then put our hands above our head, just get a nice stretch, and then from there we're going to do a gentle twist, first to the right, and then put our hands above our head again, and then do a gentle twist to the left, and then from there we're going to go back to the center and then do seated forward bend, but just in a cross-legged position. And you can either use your forearms to assist with the stretch, or do what I'm doing, or just go as far down as you can before we then go over to the next pose. Next, from here, we're going to make our way to a tabletop position where we then are going to go into a cat and cow pose for the practice. We're going to be doing this for a couple of breaths, and then as we're doing this, we're going to do rotation with a breath control with this on both sides with this practice. From the cat and cow position, we are then going to make our way into a lunge, first to the right, a low lunge. And then from the low lunge, we then will make our way into a high lunge. And from there, we then are going to go into a Y-legged position to get prepared for a yoga squat. And then from the yoga squat, then we are going to go into a Y-legged forward bend. As far as we can go into that. And then from there, with this sequence, we will then make our way back into that forward lunge, low lunge. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Once we do this sequence on the opposite side, on both sides, then we are going to make our way back to that tabletop position into our first downward facing dog. And yes, if you notice, I did start smiling because we had ourselves a zero sighting, and there's going to be more to come with zebra. From the downward facing dog, sorry, I got distracted. We are then going to go into a three-legged dog into our pigeon pose on our right side. And then while we are in this pigeon pose, we're going to take our time, of course, getting into this pigeon pose. And then we can do the full stretch within the pigeon pose. And then from there, we're going to do the sequence within the sequence, kind of like a modified wild thing pose, not as rough as your typical wild thing, kind of more of a easier version of it. And then from there, we're going to make our way back into that pigeon pose, back into downward facing dog, and then doing the same sequence on the other side. From the downward facing dog, once we have finished the sequence, we then are going to make our way back to tabletop position, only briefly to get to lying on our back. And once lying on our back, we're going to give our knees, put our knees into the chest and give ourselves a nice squeeze, really to just get ready to a modified pretzel pose. And then from there, we are going to then make our way to concluding the practice in either Shavasana or a seated pose, whichever one you prefer. So as you can see towards the end, Zero was definitely involved in the practice. Hopefully you enjoyed that surprise. And then from here we are transitioning over into our next practice where we are going to start in a comfortable seated position, getting our touch with our breath and getting our breathing together. And then from there we are going to make our way into um, tabletop position where we are going to be using this for an extended child's pose next. With this child's pose, it is kind of going to be your traditional child's pose. And then before we get into the traditional child pose, we are going to be using a kneeling position. So it's going to be kind of a sequence between a kneeling position and our typical child's pose. From that from this sequence that we do multiple times, we then are going to go to a comfortable seated position where we have our feet as far back or as far into the yoga mat. So as wide as the yoga mat. So part of our feet are going to be kind of actually off the yoga mat. And with this, with our knees bent, we're going to then do a gentle twist on each side. And then from there, we are then going to go right away into our meditation pose with words of affirmation. And pretty much that does conclude this portion of the practice because, again, this was a meditation with yoga. Hi, so that does conclude the 2-in-1 practice. And this time I'm just deciding to review them all together. And the reason why I did this is because I thought the second practice, so let's review the second practice first, and then I'll review the first practice that I did. So the second practice was a mindful yoga meditation 5-minute practice by Black Yogi Nika Marie. I'm not exactly sure if that's what the video is called exactly, but that's along the lines was called. And I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was going to be all meditation, but she did mix some movement in it. And so that made me actually feel more engaged than just a straight up meditation practice. So for that, I'm actually going to give that a 10. That's a solid 10. That's a 10 out of 10. It was completely not what I expected, and that 5 minutes flew by. It flew by, and I have no complaints. I definitely enjoyed that. So if you're someone who has trouble with meditation, straight up meditation, but so you need movement to kind of get you, present to get into the meditation, I would recommend this. Highly recommend it. My brain was shut off for that 5 minutes, so it worked out really, really well. So on to this first video that we did, which was a 20-minute yoga for feminine energy. I did enjoy it. It was a little bit more restorative than I thought it was going to be, but there was some movement and there was some twisting and turnings. And this time, I don't think I messed up the twists and turnings. Like, I did it right. So that was a little mini victory that I had for myself. I almost did like visualize me doing that. And also we had a rare 0 sighting. Like 0 was engaged. That never happens. So I was super pleasantly surprised by that. So it made that practice awesome too. So guess what that one's getting also? That's also getting a 10. So both of those practices combined together. If you need a little bit more and you want to get some movement in before you finish off with the meditation, combining these two is the way to do it. So thank you, Black Yogi Nika Marie. You killed it like you always do. And I appreciate your content so much. And hopefully you appreciate that I take the time to do your videos and that I also review them. I love your content. Keep doing your thing. You are killing this. You're killing it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Anyway, and also too, you are helping me stay accountable. I'm not going to lie. Between you and all the other yogi content creators, particularly of the melanin variety, y'all are helping me keep moving. And y'all don't even know it, but you really are. But anyway, I just wanted to give some flowers out because the energy that both those practices exuded was positivity, and I need to put it back. I need to share, right? Anyway, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel if you get anything out of the content. And also, always check out the original creators' content as well and try to do their practices if you would like. Or if you're still not sure yet, you just need to look over their stuff first before you decide you're going to go all in with the yoga, do that as well. But anyway, that concludes the video. I will see you next time. Bye.